Hello and welcome. My name is Scott Hamilton with PM Accelerated Learning Services. We teach the PMP Exam Prep Bootcamp as well as Project Management Essentials. We do private tutoring, and we also teach other classes such as Effective Meetings, Agile, and Scrum throughout the country. Today I'm going to show you the value of Cost Performance Index for your projects. Before you execute the project, you want to talk to your project sponsor, key stakeholders, and determine the range that your cost performance index needs to be at. Here we see 1.10, 1.0, and 0.90. The range that's been indicated here, and this is sort of a standard, is 10% plus or minus from the mean. The mean here is 1.00. 1.10 is actually the indicator. If your project cost performance index is above 1, that means you're under budget. If your cost performance index is below 1, that means you're over budget. What you can also think of is, if you're using dollars as your currency, then for every dollar the company spends, the one can be represented as a dollar, and for every dollar the company spends, how much worth of work are they getting for their dollar? For example, if your cost performance index for your project was at 1.10, that means for every dollar the company spends, they're getting $1.10 worth of work for each dollar they spend. And if you're a 0.90, if they spend $1, they're only getting 90 cents for their dollar. Okay? So the range is 0.90 to 1.10 here, which is the standard. And that we have determined with our stakeholders that anything within that range is fine, is acceptable, or within the quality metrics that have been set for the project. My recommendation is that you set those metrics prior to executing the project so that you know the cost performance index that you need to be within for the project. Let's represent 9 weeks of data here. So we have 9 weeks here, and let's say that we've been executing our project for that amount of time. So we're going to put some dots here to represent our cost performance index for each of those weeks. Let's put some lines here to help us out. All right, so we can see here that in week 1 we were perfect, which means for every dollar the company spends, they got $1 worth of work. Fantastic. All right, for week number 2, we fell a little bit short, about 99 cents on the dollar. That's not bad at all. See, again, we are within 1.10 and the 0.90. So we are well within our quality metrics that have already been set. Week number 3 is great. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. In fact, we know that we are within our quality metrics, and we're doing very, very well for the project. Some might look at this and say, well, wait a second, we're not hitting 1. Remember that 1 is perfect, okay? And what we're doing is basing the actuals, and we're pushing those against the estimates to determine the difference in the performance between the two. So our estimates and our actuals are very, very close to each other, which means we did a great, great job of estimating. Okay, so this project is perfect, and what you can do is represent that by, you can actually also show it using the traffic lights, which I actually love because in an instant you can tell how we're doing with this project. So we would definitely put this project at green. Okay? All right, perfect. The next thing that we need to think about here is how long would it take your stakeholders to read 9 weeks of data for your cost performance index and determine whether your project is on track or not? I would venture to say that that takes about 1 to 2 seconds, maybe even less. So looking at this graph, you have 9 weeks of data, and you can tell that we're sitting great for our project here. Why is this important? Well, you want your status reports read because you want your stakeholders informed to remove their fear. Once you provide information to stakeholders, that removes their fear and anxiety and worry and stress about your project because they know all about it. So you can take a look at this graph right here in 9 weeks of data. Hey, cost performance index for this project is fantastic. So we're rolling right along here. No need to worry about this project. Okay, let's go ahead and try a different graph. This graph is great. Looks like we're doing really perfect with our project here. Okay, so we've been executing this project for 3 weeks, and you can see the trend is starting to go down here a little bit, which means for every dollar their company spends, worked out great for the first week, about 95 cents on the dollar. This looks like about 88 or 87 cents on the dollar, which means we are over budget. We spend $1, we only get 88 cents for that dollar. What you want to do as a project manager is determine whether this is a problem or not, or whether a change needs to be initiated or a change request put in. How do you know whether to put in a change request? What you do is you take a look at your cost management plan. In this particular case, we're talking about cost. So in your cost management plan, prior to executing the project, you have determined what to do and when based on the CPI. For example, you can state in the cost management plan that the first 3 weeks, if we fall under or over the quality metrics set by the project, that is not a problem. We need to get back into the range, but for right now, that's just one blip. Let's try to get it back using innovative cost saving strategies. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the next week and see if any of those strategies worked for us. Turns out we're actually falling a little bit shorter than we thought. So we estimated our estimates and our actuals are not doing that great here. So we are well below the lower specification limit of 0.90. We're probably sitting at 0.85 or something like that, which is 85 cents on the dollar. We've also, let's just say within our project that I'll make up a story here, 2 weeks out, not a big deal. Try to do what you can to get you back. Let's say that we head to week 5 now. Okay, we're starting to trend upward a little bit, or we're still outside the lower specification limit. So what we want to do here is you've developed a plan for, and I'll just make up a story here. So in this plan, it says if we've gone 3 weeks out for the CPI of the lower specification limit, either way, upper or lower, run functional analysis to determine cost savings. If unable to resolve, submit a change request for additional funds. Again, I just made up that story. You can determine what you want to do and when you want to do it and when you want to put those changes in. Why do you do that? So that your executing of your project is basically stress-free, and you don't have to freak out on your first out of bounds here, out of the specification limit. The second one, we know we're not freaking out. It's if we get to the third one, we're going to go ahead and make the change so it doesn't continue to happen, and we can move ourselves back up into the range that's acceptable for our project. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Go ahead and check out our other videos at pmaccelerated.learning.com. Thank you.